Welcome to my channel, The Kingleeway. My name is King, and today the title is Big Ed and Rose 90-Day Fiance. And this is a show on the TLC network. So, I caught this episode about Ed and Rose. And the reason I want to talk about this is I've actually, in the past year, spent 5 months in the Philippines. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on the Philippines, but I do have a little input. So I want to break this down, and I'm going to use some visual aids here. So, as the title says, Ed and Rose. So, here's my good friend, Ed. So this is Big Ed. Yes, the bear represents Big Ed. So let me give a quick background about Ed. He's 54 years old from San Diego, California. And he is a photographer in San Diego. And he has a daughter that's 29 years old. He was married, but ended up apparently cheating on her, according to the show. So him and his wife got divorced. So, and what he was doing is on Facebook, he was chatting up Rose, and Minnie Mouse represents Rose. So let's go back to Ed here. So while he was chatting her up, he was sending $5,000 worth of gifts, which apparently never got there at all. But in the episode of TLC, it shows him sending, boxes to Rose. So, yeah, but it never got there. Now, I'm gonna give a little bit of a side note here. Now, when you send stuff to the Philippines, you usually would send it, especially if Rose, if she lives in the province, you usually would send it to the local post office, then they'll go to the local post office to pick it up. So there's chances where most of the stuff won't get there, because there's some of my fellow friends that live in the Philippines, expats, Americans, that sometimes never get their stuff. And some of them live in, condos, or live in, a house. And sometimes they would go check the post office and their items wouldn't show up. So that could happen just per se. Even when I see in the YouTube comments like, Ed really never sent that stuff, Or, hey, Rose is scamming Ed and the family has the stuff, but they sold it. I don't know. But 50-50, I think the box got misplaced or didn't go through. And sometimes that happens in the Philippines. So, another thing is Ed made the commitment to buy a plane ticket going to the Philippines from San Diego. Okay? And then, here's Rose. So, again, she is a 23-year-old single mother, has a son, and she lives in the province. It's Caloocan, which is like a little north of Manila. There's actually a train stop, because they have like the Sky Train, and it actually stops in Caloocan. I probably might be mispronouncing the city, but I'm trying my best here. So, and she probably lives a little far off, assuming. I could be wrong. So I just looked this up on the Google Maps. So yes, so they were chatting it up for 3 months. And of course, let's bring Ed back in the mix. He's in love. Pretty cool. Alright, so the next part I want to talk about before the trip to Manila. Apparently, Ed receives a message from Rose's sister about, hey, I need help, I need money for my sorry store. Yeah, that's what usually it is, it's a sorry. But their place is not quite a sorry store, because they actually have food in the Sari Sari store, but it looks like a Sari Sari store. But some people say, nope, it's not a Sari Sari store. It's just like a store with, CDs and all that. Okay, so let's head to Manila. Big Ed arrives in Manila, and I already knew. She's like, I'm waiting for her. Took her 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Well, guess what? Yep, Filipina time. Filipina time. Yeah, no Filipinos come on time. So finally, they met. Okay, and then she's like looking at him, scoping him out. Of course, apparently Ed said he's 5'3", but he's really 4'11". So I have the perfect visual aids here. So as in Manila, they do a measurement. Well, who's taller? Yeah, Rose is taller. Minnie Mouse, yeah. So Minnie Mouse is a little taller, and she goes, okay, he's big and short. Because in general, most Filipinas are really short. I'm like taller than my girlfriend. So that's one thing I've noticed, because most Filipinas are shorter than the average guy there. So yeah, like between like 4'9", 4'11" to maybe 5'2", 5'3". That's what I usually would see on the average. So so they met at Manila. They go to the hotel room and they get separate beds, but they put the twin beds together. He's like, I want to be respectful. Well, okay, cool, Ed, be respectful. But Ed, please take a shower, because me, if I was on a flight for 15 hours, man, that's all I think about is getting clean. Because man, it's hot to be riding in that plane, and you're just like, sticky and everything, especially in the Philippines. It's really hot. And especially the hottest part of the year is April, May, and June. That's their summer in the Philippines, and it's mostly Southeast Asia. So they're at the hotel, no shower. Okay, no big deal. Then here's the fun part. They go shopping. Yay. Now, here's the thing. When they went shopping, okay? Of course, I was just laughing my head up. Does anybody speak English? Well, yes, they speak English over there in the Philippines. For crying out loud, It's American influence over there. So Ed wanted to take her shopping, get her some pajamas. Okay, now, even before I went to the Philippines, I knew they're gonna be trying to charge you American foreigner price. I don't want to pay those American foreigner price. I would have been bartering like, nope, how about 300 or something. Of course, another thing is, okay, in that market scene where Ed was buying her pajamas and a shirt, like Rose goes into his wallet. All right, I'm sorry. I don't know if that was maybe scripted. It could have been scripted, but when I was in the Philippines and I was dating, not one Filipina ever dared go in my wallet. Plus, I did the research to know how much a peso is, or how much $1 US is. It's about 50 to 51 pesos is $1 US. So I knew, and I would sit there and barter. I'm like, 480, let's try 300. Yeah, I would have bartered for it. Or if he's gonna spend those kind of prices, he should have just took her to the biggest mall in the Philippines, Mall of Asia. It's one of the hugest malls, the biggest malls there. Not the hugest, but just huge. It's huge. Wow, I'm screwing up. But yeah, he should have just took her to the mall if he's gonna spend that kind of money. But Ed doesn't know any better, so he didn't do his research. Okay, now after the shopping part, he was getting really hot. So, advice, Ed. wear a dry fit shirt. And even if you want to look nice, wear one of those Walmart polo shirts. It's dry fit. Wear those. It's hot in the Philippines, for crying out loud. Ed, you should know better, but hey, he didn't. He's in love. Okay, so another thing is, as I'm looking under my notes here, later that night, they have dinner. Okay? Now, Ed brings up this part, and most of you that's been keeping up the show know what happened at that dinner. You know, I want to trust you, so I would like you to take a STD test. STD? Yeah. So if I take, you take too. And he goes, no, you take in the Philippines, I take in the United States. What difference does it make if you take it in the US or the Philippines? There's clinics for all that stuff. They both could take one if it's that obvious and serious to get to that point. So, but you know, in Ed's mind, he's wondering if he can trust Rose, if he's just a meal ticket, green card, you know, because he wants to practically marry her and bring her back to the US. That's what 90-day K1 visa's for. So yeah, So Rose gets pissed off. You don't understand me. So they stay in separate hotels. Then the next morning, Ed's like, ooh, feeling all sad and hurt. Ooh. So, of course, he texts him in Tagalog. He could have just texted her in English. You know, English is pretty much the same as the primary of Tagalog, or if you're in the Visayan. So Ed, of course, sits in the coffee shop. She said, meet me at 2. Well, I already knew what was going to happen. Why? Because I've been to the Philippines. You know, Filipina time. She shows up 2 hours later, so apparently, and goes, I'm sorry, let's kiss and make up. Okay. So, again, they go back to the hotel room. Of course, I would have not brought this up. You know, that would have been something we could talk about later in the relationship. Of course, he goes, can I kiss you? Ed, I wouldn't ask. I'd have just done it when the time was right. You just kind of just go with it. Oh, and I want you to shave your legs. You shave your beard, but it's like, you know, he could have maybe just done it for her or figure a way. He has no tact at all. So yeah, that was just like, ooh, a little creepy. Oh my. So yeah, they're at the hotel room. Now, let's fast forward to visiting the province, Caloocan. So they go there. Ed shows up. She goes, what do you think of this place? Oh, and he sees the sister too that asked for money. And he goes, there's no windows. There's no roof. There's no plumbing. Ed, shh. Don't need to say that. You know. So it's like, Ed, come on. Yeah, and they were ready for him. So they are all welcoming. So yeah, that's like the, you know, how it is in the Philippines. Most of them are very welcome and friendly about the Philippines. If, you know, not even gone. And of course, with the current situation, we can't go inside the Philippines. I'd rather be there right now, but I'm stuck here in the United States because of our situation around the world. So he goes in. Yep, no plumbing, no windows. Yep, it's a typical province Filipino home. And then he goes, oh, my 1,000 thread. A blanket never showed up. You know? It's like, dude, you could have just packed that with you and brought it if that was an issue, since he said he had some sort of skin issue. But I was looking at the comments on YouTube, like, really? It's like, that's not a real problem. That blanket doesn't make that much of a difference. So I'm just like, okay. But it was kind of fun to watch him take the little cup, that double cup. So that's the way, they shower. The double cup. Usually they'll just keep their shirt and shorts on, double cup, get wet, put the soap, and then they will, change clothes after that. So that's typical province life, double cup, yeah. And then you get to go to the pig farm, and then he's like, I need to put plastic over my shoes. And then that was the worst thing to do, because then he can't balance himself. It would have been better off with his Nike shoes and just walk on the mud. You could clean it off the shoes. You're not wearing Air Jordans or something, so you could still clean it off with water, So that was fun. And then after that, he met the family, cool. He slept over, cool. Then he goes to Palawan. So, and now Rose was talking about, I hope he gives me the ring, but he's a little worried. He asked a question about the sister. She apparently says, no, I never knew about, her asking for money. I don't know if she's telling truth or lying, but it's up to everyone's opinion to decide that. So and another thing is, when he was in Palawan, he was like, I have a gift. Then I have, this is not so romantic gift. I would have not done that, because he was talking about her breath is bad, but she has like a stomach ulcer. So he's like, it's like, she was pissed. She was like, I feel insulted. I want to punch Ed. Yeah, well, here, Rose, I'll let you punch Ed. Okay, Phil, there you go. You got the punch Ed right there. But, just do's and don'ts. It was just like, wow, Ed. Yeah, so you could tell he did no research or learning about anything or getting understanding how things work over there in the Philippines. Now, I want to break something down. Now, a lot of the YouTube comments, a lot of the comments that I hear with all the ones blogging about 90 Day Fiance, Ed and Rose, and of course, because most of the audience is from the United States, and we all tell Rose, yes, Rose, you can do much better. You can do much better. And yes, I agree with all of you from the West, but I'm going to bring a sad reality. Since Rose is living in the province, the prospects of finding a quality local man, Filipino man, is not there as much. And there are good Filipino men, but most of the ones that are working, professionally, most of their girlfriends or wives are, working the same thing that they do. They're both, educated, or they're very business minded, even without an education, because, it's hard. There's more women than men in the Philippines. That's something I don't think a lot of the folks in the United States understand. It's a sad reality. So it's really hard for Rose, living in a third world province, to find a man. And, she had a man that got her pregnant, left her with a son, and left her hanging. That happens in the Philippines. And, so that's just a sad reality. Now, the spoiler alert was, I heard like she's engaged to a female. Okay, I don't know if that's true. We just have to keep watching to see what happens. But just to FYI, Philippines do not recognize same-sex marriages, just to let you know. And that's across Asia pretty much. It's not like the West where we do allow a same-sex marriage. Especially, I know a fellow guy that I met that works online. Yeah, he married a Filipino man in California, and in the Philippines, they don't recognize their marriage. So that's just to tell you, FYI. So yeah. Now, the thing with Ed, he hasn't told her about he wants to do the vasectomy or, have kids. So he hasn't mentioned that. So as closer as they get, he needs to probably mention that. And here's another thing. Of course, Ed would have never came to the Philippines if he wasn't having this online dating relationship with Rose. But I'm gonna change it up here. If I was Ed and I didn't do what Ed did, I actually came to the Philippines first, and then I kind of went online, and that's how I met my girlfriend. So I just kind of dated around and see what works and try to make the best of it. And I made some mistakes, but you just make the best of it, but try to have some fun. So the thing Ed could have done was just have fun with Rose. Just do activities, and slowly, because here's the thing, a lot of Filipinos, they're very shy. They're not comfortable to talk. So the best thing is to just go and do stuff. Get some activities going and have fun with it. So that's one thing I think Ed made a huge mistake there. It made me cringe a lot. And yes, it's 90 Day Fiance. Some of this is scripted. But yeah, it just made me cringe a lot the way he handled things with Rose. But hey, it's kind of entertaining to me to see what will happen. So yeah. If any of you enjoyed this content about, Ed and Rose, leave some good comments, what Ed could have done, or, what do you think is going to happen? Because I've heard a few spoiler alerts. And yeah. So please hit the like for the algorithm and subscribe to my channel. And wherever you are, please stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video.